Alright everybody, I think it's time we stop worrying about these useless questions like why does God allow kids to get bone cancer? And did Jesus really die for everyone? And start asking the serious questions. Questions like, will you ever find the one? The one that God knit together in her mother's womb just for you. The Proverbs 31 woman. Your souls were forever predestined to be together and you'll live happily ever after because God promises that we will all have a perfect and happy life. Does this perfect Proverbs 31 woman even exist? Well, let's find out. So let us paint a picture here. Let's say that you are a nice 20-something Christian conservative male and you are looking for a nice 20-something Christian conservative female to leave and cleave to. Sounds like there might be a good sample size to pick from, right? Well, let's find out. First, we have to look at the population that fits this criteria. First and foremost, they have to be female. So that's about 50% right there. But we have to knock off another 2% for those who happen to be sodomites. So here we are at 48%. So how about age? As a 20-something male, you want to find someone who's around that age range. So how many women are between the ages of 20 and 29? Well, it's about 14%. So it's already looking a bit shaky, but we can move on. What about religion? You know you can't be unequally yoked, so they have to at least be a Christian, right? If you're a Protestant and American, you're in luck because 42% of people identify as Protestant. Hopefully you don't mind if they're a Pentecostal or something because that'll make it drop a bit more. So we can't be too picky, can we? We will pretend that they are all true Christians too and not nominal for the sake of keeping our hopes up. Now as a Christian, you will probably want to be fruitful and multiply, so you'll want someone who wants kids, right? It's a good thing that research shows that about 80% of women want kids. Well, what about politics? You can't have a baby-killing liberal raising your kids, can we? Well, women typically lean more left until after marriage, so that's not good. But let's be generous because, again, we don't want you to lose all hope yet. So let's say about 30% of women are conservative. If you think that's too low, I encourage you to walk around a college campus and see for yourself. I'm being pretty generous with 30%. And of course, we can't forget what she looks like. Now I know many guys could easily settle and marry about 70% of women, but we have to be careful here. If you have a type, your percent might be way lower than 70%. Maybe you see yourself as a young conservative stallion who needs a pretty blonde southern belle to sit in the passenger seat of your lifted truck. But if pretty and blonde is your criteria, you may be in trouble. That 70% might just drop to 5% or lower. It's just something to think about. But what about height? You'll probably want to be taller, and if you're the average height of 5'10", that won't be too hard. About 80% of women will be shorter than you, if you're 5'10". So let's take a look at our percentage so far to see how many women will fit this criteria. 0.38%. That's not looking great, and we haven't even considered all the non-negotiables that are exclusive to you. Maybe she has to be a Calvinist, or she has to want more than 5 kids. Maybe she has to be a stay-at-home mom. All of these non-negotiables that you add on lower your chances even farther. And this isn't even considering personality compatibility. We wouldn't want you marrying a contentious wife, would we now? Or maybe you don't get along with many people. Or another way of saying it is, people generally don't like you. But let's put that all aside for now and see if we can get a sample size to draw from. How many people do we generally meet every year? Well, I want to be generous, as we always are here, and say that you're an extrovert who meets on average one new person every day. Even though the reality is that you probably do the same thing every week and see the same people everywhere you go, and you're also probably afraid of approaching pretty women. But again, we're trying to be nice here. So let's say from the age of 18 to 30, you meet one new person every day. That's 4,380 people. Again, very generous. So we have our sample size. Let's multiply that with the percentage we got above, and our answer is 17. Ouch. Out of all the people you will meet from the age of 18 to 30, only 17 are possible candidates. And this is being as generous as we could possibly be. Maybe we can make this a little more hopeful and say you live in, let's say, Orlando, Florida, and you're on an ambiguous non-heathen dating app swiping around. So you have access to all 290,000 people. Throw that into a calculator and things are looking a bit better. But this is the absolute best case scenario. And of course, we haven't even factored everything in yet. There are a few more key factors that could really sink your ship here. What we have just described in all of our data has only identified possible mates. The ones that fulfill the bare basics of what you're looking for. What about things that remove them from the dating pool? You think these ideal first-round draft pick women are just floating around waiting to marry you? They're going to get snatched up the second they hit the field. We haven't even considered if they're already taken, possibly even married. What if they're dating Jesus? Or what if they're not interested in dating? And this brings us to the last thing we haven't considered yet. You. Who are you that you think that you can have any of these ideal women? These are all the top of the line women. Are you one of the top of the line men who can even get the attention of one of these top of the line women? I guess you will have to do some introspection here. But ladies, please don't be so hard on the guys here. I know he expects you to be perfect, but don't expect the same from him. Now guys, I hope you're looking at these numbers and learning something. If you're crunching your own numbers at home and you got numbers that were even lower than this, then you better start reconsidering some of your non-negotiables. Remember, I was being really generous with these percentages. The chances are probably even lower. The only advice I could really give you is to work on yourself and become a more desirable person. Or, lower your standards and compromise. Maybe you can expand your sample size by getting confidence and talking to more women. But hey, don't hang your head too low there, champ. Maybe God really did make someone especially for you, but I wouldn't count on it. Always remember, with God, all things are possible.